battle royals on Underdog, and we're going to do the DFS contest on DraftKings. Yes, so let's get to the intro. We are Guidelines to Achieve and Build, GAB Sports. We are gentle and blissful, gifted and beautiful, generous and benevolent, and most appreciatively grateful and blessed. GAB Sports, your boy Q, a.k.a. Young Moolah. Yeah, we want to dip right into this week one slate because I've been thinking about it for a while now, ever since the best ball drafts came to an end for me, which was maybe about a week ago. So I've been thinking about this slate in its entirety already, and I got a pretty good grasp on what I want to do week one. So let's just dip right into it. Okay. I always like to do when I start to think about a slate. You know, everybody has their own processes, but one thing that I've come to know for myself, it's all about the contest selection. Once you figure out that, then you'll kind of better know where you fit in this space. And the things that I like to do is I look for the single entries. I look for the 3 max entries up to like 20 max entries. The 150 entries, I don't even mess with them. Other than maybe a couple of bullets I'll throw into a milli maker just to try to get lucky and hit that home run, right? But I'm not chasing those 150 contests because the guys that are doing all these, lineup builds with the tools and all that, they seem to have an advantage in those 150 contests. You know, a lot of times people want to say, well, if I had 150, I could probably do well too. Well, not unless you're using these lineup builders and tools and these specialized simulations that they got. You're not going to compete with those guys in the 150 contest. So me being a strict hand build kind of fellow, I feel that's where my edge comes from. You know, so I just stick to my lane. I stick to those contests, and I do quite well. And we're going to keep a record of what our returns are this year. So I'm going to be very transparent. So we're starting off week one. I typically spend between $200 to $300 in entries every week, and we roll with that. See if we can build it up. You know, last season was pretty successful. Had a pretty nice return. And then we're gonna see what we do this year. Okay, with that same approach, contest selection, know your style of drafting, know who you are, and then you get in where you fit in. So I've looked at this slate pretty good, and I've identified some of the best things that I want to look at, you know, as far as game environments. You know, there's quite a few games that we have here, but let's just jump into a contest, and then we'll go ahead and build a lineup, and I'll talk through it as I go. Okay, so let's see. Okay, let's try this 20 entry max right here, the play action. Okay. So we're going to create a new lineup here. All right. So DraftKings, you know, has a 50K salary cap for 8 positions. Actually, it's 9 positions, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 positions, including the defense. All right, so it breaks down to 55 per roster spot. So identifying all these things, we kind of want to look at what do you want to build around for the week. That's how I start. What do I look at as the cornerstones or the centerpieces? Could be just one player, could be 2 players, could be 3 players. But players who I believe if these guys go off on this slate, I'm in a pretty good spot to make some headway into, you know, hitting those top 0.3, 0.2%, 0.1% spots, which is the first 5-10 spots of contests. If you're not shooting for the top, then what are you playing for, right? I'm shooting for the gusto. I'm trying to bring home the bacon. I'm trying to hit young moolahs, trying to hit some moolah. So we going for the top spots, man. So my approach is always to see who are these superstar dudes who can really get me to that promised land. And so obviously the more higher owned dudes are going to be in the good game environments, the higher over unders, right? But also you need to maybe locate some games where Vegas may kind of be off the mark right in the early parts of the season of not really knowing what's happening with some of these teams. And I've identified a spot where I think Vegas has missed the mark. So it'll be kind of an under-owned game to where I think it should be owned a lot higher than it probably will be. And so we'll get to that. But identifying these players are my first key, though. They have the players at the top, usually the top tier salaried guys who I think I can utilize in combination or also in lineups, other lineups where I make about 25 or so lineups, give or take 20 to 30 lineups each week. So given that, what I like to do is have at least a core that each lineup will have at least one of these dudes, if not 2 or 3 of them. But each lineup I make will not be without one of these guys that I'm going to put in this single lineup here. So the people who I've identified who I have to have this week, I'm going to start off with this guy, bankable score to take home some money. All right, and the number one guy I've identified is this guy right here. We're building around this guy in a lot of lineups. He'll be a centerpiece of many, 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 many lineups, and that's Malik Neighbors. Why, you say? Well, it's pretty simple. He's a target hog. In any environment, in any game, and this one has a pretty good environment, 46.5 over under. They're on the road against a division rival, Washington, who I don't believe their defense is fully equipped to contain a guy like this, and they're going to need this guy to survive in this game. And whether they fall behind or whether they just go by their original game flow, the game script, Malik Neighbors, you can best believe, will be highly utilized in this game. So he's my first centerpiece. The next centerpiece that I absolutely will be playing a ton in this slate, who I will not be without, is my guy, Brock Bowers. We're going straight to the top of the tight end players. We're going straight to the top. One, because we know he's an integral part of his team. 2, I've identified this Raiders-Patriots game as the game I think Vegas has missed on this week. It's only I have like a 43.5 over under, but I believe that the Raiders in particularly are being slept on by Vegas. And I say this because, everybody's looking at, Pete Carroll. He likes to play a certain kind of a pace, a certain kind of a strategy. But why did he go hire Chip Kelly? Chip Kelly is a guy who, one, plays at a very fast pace. They get tons of plays off. He's always in the top 3, 4 in the league, the top few teams in the league of plays, pace, rate, play rate. You can look over his seasons in Philadelphia. He routinely had over 1,000 plays run, 1,200 plays run each year. It's about 70 a game, almost 65, 70 a game. It's a lot of plays on a consistent basis. Okay. And now we look at the ownership factor starts to come in. If the game is only a 43.5 over under, it's probably not going to be a lot of players that are high owned in this game. So Brock Bowers, integral part of his offense, a game that Vegas is sleeping on. The masses will probably also be asleep. I'm rolling with Brock Bowers as a must-have or a must-utilize in tons of lineups to get me to the promised land this week. The next player I've identified, he's a stud, no doubt about it. He's costly, no doubt about it. And it's this guy. We're rolling with Jahmyr Gibbs. Actually, I think I'm going to put him in my flex. Yeah, we'll go ahead and put him in my flex. It's a late game hammer. You want that late hammers. A lot of times on these main slates on DraftKings, you don't want to be without minutes coming into the 1 o'clock games, the 4:15 games, whichever time zone you in. 125 for us, 425 for the East Coast. The late games. You want to have some exposure to some people in those late games. Jahmyr Gibbs, pretty good game environment. High Vegas total on the road. Green Bay already let go of they transferred assets. They got rid of one of their best run stuffers, Kenny Clark, brought in a pass rusher. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to eat some more, I believe. So rolling with Jahmyr Gibbs. Our next thing we want to look at, do I want to stack any one of these guys? And I'm looking at neighbors. Do I want to run him with Russ Wilson? No, not in this matchup. I don't really want to play Russ. Do I want to go with Jahmyr Gibbs with some more pieces and maybe Jared Goff? It's possible, but not in this particular lineup. So Brock Bowers. Hey, Geno? Yeah, Geno might be a possibility. So let's go ahead and just put Geno in here because I do have this as an underrated game. And I will throw in Geno. He's relatively cheap. Oh, no, he's not relatively cheap. He's very cheap. We'll go with Geno, 5,200. And Geno's had some big games over the years. If you look at some of his games last year, he can get to the 25 to 27-point plateau. And I think Chip Kelly and the Raiders are going to push that ball down the field as Chip Kelly's known to do. So one thing I can do, I can either look at a cheap defense to bring into the picture or maybe like a punt wide receiver who has a pretty decent role in order to try to bring that average salary back up so I can get some other quality players in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to a cheap receiver who I have in mind. Wow, it's a lot of 3K dudes here. How many 3K dudes they got in this damn slate? All right. Hunter Renfrow, Carolina. And it's saying that he's out, right, on DraftKings. So he's going to be low on. If it's saying he's out, people are going to look at that and not even be thinking about it. But, yeah, he's in a good game environment. He has a good slot role. It's PPR site. We'll go ahead and put in some Hunter Renfrow, which maybe give us a little bit more salary to get some guys that we want to get to. Also, do I want to correlate anybody that I already have in my lineup? Since I got the stack of the Raiders, how about bringing somebody back? I tell you, there's a guy who I do have in mind. He's a young rookie who's looked explosive all preseason. And I got faith in him. Week 1 against this Raiders defense that hasn't looked back very sharp in the preseason. Week 1. It could be a big thing. Breakout season from the start. So who says rookies got to wait till post-bye rookie bump that we all anticipate when we're doing our best ball drafts? This might happen right out the gate. This guy's one of the featured dudes on this team. I got to believe that. So Travion Henderson, it might be trade day coming up right here on week 1. So we're going to roll with that one. Remember, we're in a GPP. We got to beat how many entries? We got to beat 158,000 people. So if you got to beat 158,000 people, you best believe you'll need to take a few chances here on some plays that might not be ideal, but if they hit, they have some upside to get you to that winner's circle. And that's what we're all about. Trying to get to that winner's circle. We're trying to get to the upper echelon. And Travion Henderson, we're banking on him this week. I'll have plenty of shares. Okay. So we're about roughly 5,000 per player here. Let's just go ahead and get us a cheap defense in here. I think I want a cheap defense. And here's a defense nobody's going to play. You know why? Because there's an infatuation with the quarterback on the other side. And I love him too. But guess what? This is about having some contrarian plays and having things that are improbable that might hit. Okay, so maybe Washington might score some points. But guess what? The Giants have a fearsome pass rush coming at this guy all game. They might be able to create a turnover to him. And, a turnover can lead to a defensive touchdown. Who knows? So we're going to bank that this fearsome young pass rush, this fearsome foursome kind of a front that they have here is going to be able to get to Jaden occasionally and make some plays themselves on the defensive side of the ball. So we're taking that cheap defense, which will give us a little bit of wiggle room to add another quality player in this mix. So let's get a running back who we kind of like. Yeah, we'll go with Kenneth Walker. We definitely like him this week. That leaves us with 6,700. 6,700. for the receiver spot. Hey, several guys that fit that range. How about we go with this guy? Drake London. Yeah. He's in a very, very good environment. It's in a dome. We'll just go ahead and keep this lineup and make some variations off of it. This is a good core lineup. This is my 3 core players that I really like. And Neighbors, Bowers, as well as Gibbs. And then we've added several players to it who have some high upside potential. The run back with Travion. Kenneth Walker's in a great spot at home. And Renfro, our cheapie, as well as our super cheap defense. So, that'll be a good entry here. Is give us a shot at winning some of this money this week. And, we'll go ahead and let that one slide. Let that one enter into a few contests. But now what we want to do is we want to slide over to Underdog. We can do a battle royal, So again, we can use some of the same strategies, although it's a little different with only 6 roster spots on Underdog, but you can still like a lot of the same players in a lot of the game environments. But the fact that you're going and coming down to 6 players, though, you're going to need to try to find some differentiation in your lineups. And that comes with scrolling down the board, maybe in your last pick or two, to where you're trying to find some guys who could be low on. Because week 1, there's going to be a lot of variance. Everybody, including myself, we think we really know what's going to happen week 1. But come on, we've seen what happens week 1. There are always guys that come out of the woodworks, making plays who you never thought of before, the Brandon Lloyds of the world. Who's that receiver that was on Jacksonville a couple years ago? I even forget his name. But they just come out all the time. They'll make plays and get you like 2 touchdowns just out of nowhere. And then you get all excited about them. They don't do nothing the rest of the year. But at least for that 1 week, they did something. And so I've identified some players that could fit that criteria. And so one thing about the rankings have come out as well. I mean, I got my own rankings, but I'm sure the rankings have come out for these Sunday contests. And so we'll just kind of browse through what I've already set up. And I think this is a week where you really don't want to get locked out at running back. I believe the 1-2-2-1 strategy is definitely probably the strategy that you're going to really want to have. I don't think there's a 1-1-3-1 that's going to beat the best 1-2-2-1s this week, especially in the large field contests. Now, if you're in a contest, smaller field, higher entry fee type contest, those will be fine. But getting those 2 backs early is what I'm saying. Not the depth. It's like late in the rounds. I don't think those backs are good enough to really give you an edge. I like the early backs in the first 3 rounds, maybe. And I've also bumped up a couple guys who I tend to like, like Travion Henderson or whatever. So I probably got him rated a little higher than most people. Let me see where I even have him. Oh, yeah, I got him right after Kenneth Walker. And I'm willing to take him even higher just so I can have him based on any kind of correlation I might already have. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump in one of these contests. We'll jump into the Battle Royal. $50K to first place. We like the sound of that. Once again, it's GAB Sports. We thank you for tuning in. And feel free to go ahead and leave a comment and like the video. Also, subscribe to the channel. Go on this journey with your boy as we're gonna detail and log all our ROI this year and see what happens. Okay, I'm gonna be totally transparent. Week 1, I'm gonna have a spreadsheet, everything. I'll come back, screenshots, all that. We're gonna screenshot our wins, losses, whatever we're returning, screenshotting it, sharing with the public. Everything's transparent. Because sometimes you can get in early, the Monday, Tuesday drafts before the projections and all that come out. You can get some pretty good combinations that you might not be able to get later in the week once everybody gets their projections set and things like that. So I've already done about 15, 20 drafts or so before today, and this is my first day. We're going to jump right in here, and we're going to start off getting somebody good. We know that. One of these guys right here. McCaffrey, Gibbs, or Chase. I'm going to give. Well, he took Chase. Great. I'll take McCaffrey. Get another McCaffrey share. I don't have many of them because I've been splitting my top running backs amongst Gibbs, McCaffrey, Bijan, and I got Jonathan Taylor just only slightly behind them this week. I love Jonathan Taylor this week. In fact, I got him ranked ahead of Bijan in my ranking, so I love JT. But I've been adding a little bit of Bijan if I get an early pick, just so I won't be shut out. And Vita Vieira just missed practice today. If he's out, Bijan can go nuts on this team, man. If they don't have that big guy in the middle plugging it up, man, Bijan might have a field day. So keep track of that news, and I may have to bump Bijan up the later it gets in the week if I see that Vita Vieira might be out. Okay, so who do we got? CMC? Oh, if I get this guy. If I get that guy. Well, I love Bowers over here too. Tight ends are valuable this week here on Underdog. Got all 3 elites available. Man, could be something sweet. Chase Brown. We'll pass on Kittle since we already have CMC. Achan. I'll take another Brock Bowers share for sure. I will take another Brock Bowers share for sure. Yep, we will scoop it up. Scoop. Scoop, scoop. Okay, who else? Okay, Matt Skull takes a receiver. Okay, let's see what's going on. 1 quarterback gone, so that's no big deal. Do we want Chase Brown or are we going to wait? How about we take our first receiver? Take a guy who should get a ton of targets here. Mike Evans. Yeah, this is kind of a chalky kind of combination of players here, but we'll figure out maybe how to differentiate it or maybe not. Maybe we just go all chalk on this lineup. Sometimes you just take the best plays and see how it goes down. If you take the best plays and they play the best that they can play, sometimes that works, You don't have to be too cute all the time. Let's add Burrow and Higgins in here. Where's Higgins? How about we add a guy like J-Mo in here? Explosive. Mr. Explosive himself. Tyreek. Love Tyreek this week. I know this guy's going to want to get Burrow and Higgins since he has Jamar Chase. Do I ruin his plans? Take Burrow right in front of him? Yeah, I'm not going to let him get that triple. I'm going to take it if somebody else doesn't. I'm going to go Burrow. I don't believe he'll take Higgins. If he does, he does. But he shouldn't take it without the quarterback. So, because I don't have any Burrow. Sometimes you got to play a little defense. Not giving this guy a triple stack. Burrow in this kind of contest, that might be deadly. I'm going to take the single Burrow. All right. We'll roll with that one. I don't have any Burrow. Do we go in the double tight with Njoku? Nah. Stick to the plan. Stan. We going with a running back. We'll put them in that order right there. Yeah, we got one of them because neither one of these guys could take a back. I can get Travion paired with Bowers. I think we're going to get another Travion share. Or do we go Walker, same game backs? Nobody does the same game backs. Guess what? We're going to do it. Rare combination, same game backs of a low-scoring game. Yeah. Both of them get in the end zone. Maybe one of them gets in the end zone twice. That could help you. That could be a winner. All right. What does it look like? CMC, Bowers, Mike Evans, Burrow, Higgins, Kenneth Walker. Book it. One more. Let's book it. Another one. These go by so quick. Sometimes you end up doing so many in a row or something, but it's a event-based game, man. You know, a lot of people want to introduce so much data and all. What data do we have week one, honestly? And the data from last year, how does that apply to this year? A lot of times, a lot of that is just rhetoric to get your mind off and thinking that everything is solvable and all that. Football is the one sport that's not solvable. There's no such thing as solvable in football because it's just too many occurrences that happen that you have no way of anticipating that this would happen. You just got to bank on a game environment, bank on talent, bank on things that you feel give you that edge, right? Matchups. If you're good at matchups, stick with that. You know, if you're good with identifying talent, stick with that. But don't fall into the habit of thinking that you're going to just be able to predict that everything's going to happen in football. It's very not unpredictable. Oh, they're giving me JT right here. Scoop. Yeah. I got him ranked very high, 4th in my rank. And I get him at 5 all day. All day, every day. I got maybe one Jaden Daniels line by about 16 lineups. Oh, we just told you how much we love this guy just from our DraftKings drafts. How much we love this guy this week. Well, we definitely take him right here. Neighbors might break the slate. Yeah, might get about 35, 40 fantasy points. Don't discount it. He has that kind of upside. I mean, there's plenty of people with that kind of upside, but I think he's ready to do it. This guy, honestly, there's maybe one dude who can really be as good as Chase. I mean, I love Justin Jefferson. He's not as good as Chase. Malik Neighbors, I think he'll get there. It could happen this year. He's as good as Chase. He just hasn't realized it yet. But it may happen this year. Just watch. Keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes on this guy. Keep your eyes on the prize. And he's ultra competitive. Love this guy, man. That's why I bank on talent more often than not. And once you identify a few core plays like this, the guys that can really explode and give you that ceiling you just got to be able to play those dudes in high volume, like high exposure. So that's the guy I identified as my top player of the week, along with Bowers, my second best play. Gibbs is right there, as along with some other guys. It's about my third, fourth best plays. Those are kind of interchangeable. But my clear top 2 plays of the week that I've identified: Malik Neighbors, Brock Bowers. Top 2 plays of the week. All right. We love this guy. We love that guy. We love this guy. It's a love affair. Where's Igbuka? Who wants to make Buka? It's Minjoku. Oh, yeah. We love this guy, too, this week. Drake London. Love him this week. Especially over here on Underdog. Half PPR. This guy's will get into the end zone. He gets a ton of end zone targets. So Michael Penix is ready to bust out. Yes, I have no doubt about it. Game 1 might be the start of something special. Oh, I'm getting Kittle right here? Kittle this late? Do we want to wait for Njoku? 27. I think I can wait on Njoku. Get a different position here. I think I want a Genty share. Oh, that was a quick clock on me, Underdog. What you doing? That was a quick clock. I'm calling foul. I don't know if Genty's going to be back to me, but yeah, reacted a little too slow. But we'll see. Genty doesn't make it. We'll get a Travion share. Can't be mad at getting a Kittle share, huh? All right. Now our quarterback. Who do we want? Naked Kyler. Penix. Oh, we might get Genty. We are going to get Genty because they got 2 backs. All right. You always got to look and see what other people have. So remember I said you got to take the backs pretty early here. Well, I get a guy like Genty kind of falling. So we'll take the Genty share. Run with it. But yeah, the 1-2, everybody seems to be going 2 backs, man. I think that is the way to go. And the field has figured it out too. This week, it's a 1-2-2-1 thing. If you don't have it, you might be left out of the cash line. That'd be a shame if the 1-1-3-1 takes everything down. But week 1 is hard for receivers, especially on Underdog, to just score that many points. 3 receivers, and now do all of the running backs. You know what I'm saying? Very tough to do. On Penix or Bo Nix? Oh, what the hell? We're going Penix. Penix 303. Penix 303, man. 2 of them to Drake London. All right. Okay. So Battle Royal. Let's go ahead and check some exposures we got. Let's see what Matt Skull did. Wasn't he in the first? Oh, he got his Burrow stat. This guy let him have it. But you got Burrow and Joku. Chase. Good combo. I don't have one of those yet. Kind of want one. But guess what? I got some Flacco. I know I got some Flacco stacks. Yeah, let's look at what we got in some of these contests already. Completed. Main slate. 15 Battle Royals. 4 Wildcats. Wait, don't I got a dog ball? Where's my dog ball? Oh, here it is. 1 dog ball. Oh, I like my dog ball team too. Okay, main slate. Yeah. I got a Flacco 1-3-1-1-3. Flacco, Chase Brown, Chase, Judy, and Joku. Oh, we got the game stack. Yeah, so you got to mix it up a little bit. That's one of my maybe one of two 1-1-3-1s that I have. But yeah, you got to mix it up a little bit. All right. Yeah, let's go ahead and jump into a DraftKings again. See what maybe I'll throw it in a milli maker. I think this might be in a milli maker. And we'll just throw it into a milli maker. So if we're thinking milli maker contest, let's see. How do we want to approach this? We're going to need to swing for the fences, right? There's like 700, 800,000 entries, something like that. So you're trying to win first prize in these kinds of entries, these kind of contests, you better be hitting on something pretty special. So we're going to go ahead and use that same approach. We're going to start with our number 1 stunner of the week, Malik Neighbors. This time, we're not going to use Bowers, but we are going to stick with the high-end flex because we want to go do 3 running backs. I'm sticking with Gibbs, okay? This time, what kind of stack do we want to go with? Let's get a stack that's going to be maybe pretty owned here, but I think we can get away with it. Number 1, because it's super cheap. Remember, we like the Joe Flacco. We like the Flack attack, man. But instead of Njoku, guess who we're going to go with? This is where you swing for the fences. There's a dude on his team. Fannin Jr. We're going with the Fannin stack. And then we're going to make it ripe too with this guy. Tillman. We're going 2 cheapies with Flacco. What do you know? Yeah. Run back? Nope. We're not running back any Cincinnati. Too expensive. We're thinking that, okay, Cincinnati might do well, but I don't think any of those dudes will pay off tremendously. So we'll go ahead and bypass those guys. We go to some of our favorite running backs. One of our favorite guys is definitely this guy, JT. Another running back who we love, who probably minimal people will be on. Great game environment. This guy right here. The Buckster. Bucky Irving. I'm going to go with him. Or should we go, because I do want to get some Igbuka. He's going to be pretty owned, but the price is just too tantalizing for what we're looking at, what he can possibly do here. Price is just a little too good. So we want to go with Egbuka instead of Bucky. We'll get into Buka share. Okay. So roughly if we use up to 8K, you know, we can get a 3,500 defense. Yeah, let's do it. Bijan Egbuka. Fannin. And at least it's 3,500 defense. Everybody's going to be on the Cardinals. It's not a bad play. They got Spencer Rattler. Might be able to get to him. We also got the Steelers with a turnover prone. Yeah, with a turnover prone Justin Fields. We'll go with maybe the Steelers causing a defensive score, you know. Fumble six, pick six, something like that. All right, so there you go. Another lineup. This one, we're going to put in a millie maker. We got Joe Flacco. We got JT. Bijan combo. Running back Bijan with a little bit of correlation with Egbuka. Pretty good game environment there down south, Atlanta, Georgia. And then we come in with Joe Flacco with double stack. Cedric Tillman. Harold Fannin Jr. pivoting off of the very, very chalky David Njoku, who's also a great play. I'm not going to deny. But we're just doing a little something different. Sometimes, you know, there's variance in NFL, right? What if Fannin is the one he just scored a touchdown preseason? He might be the one who gets a touchdown here. Who knows? He's playing all over the formation. Looking like a good matchup for them, for him and both Njoku, him and him. So we'll go with Fannin to get the touchdown here. Then we got our number one stunner, Malik Neighbors. Can't leave home without it. Then we got Gibbs in the flex. Expensive running back, but he's going to eat, man. He's going to eat. And the Steelers defense. Steelers could be under rep this week as far as ownership. We'll roll with him. All right, let's put him in a millie maker. We got a millie maker entry to put him into? We do. We do. 1 million to first. Let's just put him right there in that millie. All right. So that's just little insights into my process. Once again, we're going to be coming at you each and every week throughout this fantasy season with the DFS lineup builds. This is week 1. So it's your boy signing off. We're going to be totally transparent. Thank you for joining us. Come along with us on this journey. Guidelines to achieve and build. Click the links below to find our follows. Also, visit the store. Get you some merchandise. They not like us shirts. We got them. Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Signing off. It's your boy, Q, and we out.